Good news! And the first time we've had a live stream, um, YouTube started. I decided that in order to start on time, there's no way you can start on time perfectly because, even when you start right on the dot, it takes seconds for the live stream. Anyway, so I started YouTube 10 seconds early. So then that way we can have Facebook and YouTube start on time. And from the looks at it, 35, 36, 37, 31, 32. Um, Facebook is 7 seconds late, which is not bad. That's on time. 7 seconds, not minutes, right? Seconds. It's still 6:50 as we're speaking right now. But anyway, but YouTube started 10 seconds early, and I think that was a smart idea. I mean, it would have not made much of a difference if I started YouTube on time. Because then Facebook would only be 17, 20 seconds late. There's no problem. But in the past history of my live stream, I start like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes late, and that causes our show, because even though I try very hard to only talk the remainder of that 10 minutes, because I start the live stream at 6:50 and then I start the show at 7. Even if it's at 6:53 or 6:54, I usually try to shorten my introduction to our marathon, so that we can start the show on time at least, if the live stream's not on time. But what I've seen lately in the past live streams is that I end up talking us through the full 10 minutes, regardless if it's 6:53, 6:55, which what I'm saying is that when we don't start the live stream on time, we don't start the show on time, we start later, regardless of, I always somehow end up wanting to talk for a whole 10 minutes. Well, now if I talk for a whole 10 minutes, we're going to start on time. So, I've had live streams in the past too where I talked for 15 minutes by accident, and it was also because I was starting late, and I still talked 15 minutes. So, let's hope I don't talk that much this time. We are going to try to start right at 7, okay? So make sure you have your episodes ready. But, right now it's only 6:52, so we got plenty of time. Welcome to our live stream, everybody. I know I don't need to waste 10 minutes explaining why I'm late, because I was not late! I started on time! For YouTube, that was 10 seconds early! My goodness! 6:49 is still 6:50. And 6:50 plus 10 seconds is still 6:50. So this is amazing! Best live stream probably of the year! Except for the first one. I think our first live stream was perfect because I started on time and I had no issues at all. The issues didn't come until after the first live stream. So I'd say this is second to best due to the first one. I think this one's perfect so far. But the reason why I can't tie it is because we're still in the live stream, and who knows if we're going to actually start at 7. So I can't say this is the best live stream of the year. I'm still going to put it in second place until our live stream's over. But this one almost tops the first live stream we had at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, we started on time, and everything was perfect. So let's see if tonight continues to be that way. Alright, well, get your popcorn, get your funeral attire on. If you have not been listening to my post this past week, someone's gonna die today. Remember, if you don't recall what happened last week, Wicked Witches and the Wizard of Oz is our new focus, our new fairy tale focus. We focused on Neverland, then we focused on Wonderland, now we're focused on Oz. And Wicked is coming out next month. Unfortunately, we're not going to be in Oz by the time it comes out. So, this is unfortunate timing in our marathon because we're reviewing Oz a little bit early. But if you're being the Wicked Witch for Halloween, then congrats for you, because all Halloween month we're Oz all the way through. We're doing Oz season. We're doing the Oz arc for the whole entire month of October. So, happy Halloween, Wicked Witch, everybody. But for November, when Wicked comes out, I'm afraid our Wicked Part 2 vibes are not going to match with my live stream vibes, because we're going to move on. But, and I'm sad to say that, again, this is a half-season arc, and they don't last very long, so I'm sorry. With 22 episodes this season, that means 11 episodes for the Oz arc. I'm sorry, we only get like 4 weeks. So anyway, this is week number 2, because remember, originally in our schedule, today, on the 1st, if you have my old schedule, for those who've been in my long-term fan marathon, if you've been here since the very beginning, my original schedule said we were supposed to finish Season 3 today, but we're not, because originally I was going to skip Thanksgiving, that was the original plan, but I decided not to skip Thanksgiving week. We're gonna do our marathon on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So I hope for those who go out of town for Thanksgiving, I hope you're back by Sunday night. Otherwise, watch the episodes on your own time. But like, I instead of skipping Thanksgiving week on our calendar, I decided to skip what is that week called? 24th of July, the Pioneer Week for my family vacation. I decided to skip that Sunday so that I could be with family. And so anyway, then our second revision of the schedule said we are going to finish season 3. You know how today's October 12th? It said on the schedule, our second revision of the schedule said we were going to finish season 3 next week on the 19th. You know. But then in September, when we watched the Wonderland series, I skipped a week for a devotional to impress a girl. So now we're not going to finish till the 26th. So yes, we are only after tonight. We just barely started the Ozark last week, guys. Come on. After tonight, we'll be halfway. So I'm sad to say it's taking us forever to get to Once Upon a Time Season 4 because we started with Season 3. Then we took a break to watch the spin-off series Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Now we're back into Season 3. Feels like we've been on Season 3 forever because we took a Wonderland break. But we're almost done with the season. We just got to get through 3 more Sundays, including tonight. So 2 more technically after tonight. But, just hang in there, guys. Hang in there. Anyway, for those... I was recapping, sorry. Oz, Wicked Witch, coming to Storybrooke. Okay, remember Peter Pan cast his curse. Regina stopped it, but in the process, magic comes with a price. The price was everyone would go back to the Enchanted Forest, and Emma and Henry would have to be raised alone. Remember? We jumped a year later, and Hook came to find Emma in New York. Then he got her memories back, but not Henry's. Remember, Henry doesn't remember who he is. He forgets he loves fairy tales, Remember, this is not the cute Henry boy we loved from season 1. He's the kind of Henry that, grew up in the real world without Regina as his adopted mother. Remember, he has the fake memories. Emma, however, Hook was able to get some memory potion to remember who she is. So anyway, Emma and Henry, because Emma's the legal guardian and Henry has to go wherever Emma goes because he's not 18, obviously, in the show, right? Emma and Henry go to Storybrooke, even though Henry probably doesn't agree. He agreed to the trip, but, as you see, as we continue watching the show right now, he doesn't really, agree too much. But anyway, 'cause he doesn't believe in fairy tales, basically. But anyway, Emma, who believes in fairy tales, is trying to figure out who cast the curse. Not everyone forgot who they are. No one forgot who they are. This new curse is just erasing everyone's last year. So the last thing they remember is watching Emma and Henry go across the town line after Rumple just died killing Peter Pan. So they don't even remember Rumpelstiltskin's back from the dead. And so anyway, we just found out as the audience member that Rumple is back from the dead, but, the characters in the show don't know that. But the audience knows. They showed us that, so it's not a spoiler. We know Rumple came back from the dead. It was the secret the Wicked Witch hid at the end of the last episode we just watched last week. And so anyway, everyone's back in Storybrooke. They don't remember anything from the previous year in the Enchanted Forest. And they don't even know who the Wicked Witch is, but they know they're going against the Wicked Witch. They spent the entire 3rd episode of last week trying to figure out who it was, but they couldn't find out who the Wicked Witch is or who cast the curse. The whole town kind of blamed Regina because she's the only one that's done this before. Emma knows it's not Regina, so privately they make a memory potion, but it doesn't work out. But then they decide to publicly announce they were making a memory potion so then they can catch the Wicked Witch and lower them into a trap. When she goes to destroy the memory potion, obviously the trap doesn't work because it was a blood magic trap, and unfortunately she's related to Regina. Then remember, they're sisters. So anyway, she breaks through Regina's blood magic. What they really need is Emma's blood magic, because she's not related to Emma. Anyway, and then the flashback form during the year they forgot. They all went back to Regina's castle to reclaim their home. And they kicked the Wicked Witch out of their castle, and now they have and then they're just facing a new villain. But they fought back their castle. That's all that happened in flashback form. And then Regina found out she was sisters with the Wicked Witch. She didn't find that out in the present, though. So the fact they lost memory of their previous year, she doesn't know that the Wicked Witch is her sister in the present. But in flashback, she does. We all know that that's her sister. They, because we're seeing the flashbacks as they slowly unfold, as Once Upon a Time does. The flashbacks slowly unfold, and then eventually you get the whole picture by the end of the season or end of the arc. So anyway, it is now officially 7 o'clock. But that's pretty much the recap. The last thing we got was that Rumple was back from the dead. So we're going to continue exactly where we left off. Rumple's back from the dead. But remember when Snow White tried to bring back her mother? Remember when Snow White tried to save Rumple in season 2? They had to kill Cora to save Rumple's life. This is the same thing again. All magic comes with a price, and it's a life for a life. So if you want to bring someone back, another must die. Which is why I told you to bring your funeral attire, because someone's going to die. And there is one episode that's pretty much the entire funeral service. So you gotta bring your suit coat on, and it's not gonna take the whole episode. Sorry, I over exaggerated, but it does take like a big 5-minute scene. Okay, so put your attire on. 7:01 now. I was just about to do the countdown, but I wanted to hurry and explain that. Someone's gonna die to bring back Rumpelstiltskin. Someone's gonna take Rumple's place. Cause remember, he died. He died honorably. He sacrificed his life to save the town. He killed Peter Pan to save the town. Now the Wicked Witch, being all cruel and evil, takes away his sacrifice. He comes back alive, and someone else has to die in his place. Someone did die in his place. Now, you could probably guess who that is. I'm not going to spoil, but, anyway, someone did die, so we're going to find out who that is. I don't think, because our first episode's a Rapunzel episode, I don't think it's going to be this episode. But the episode that follows, the one we're about to start, is going to mention who dies. So, be ready. It's going to be a major character. By major characters, I'm gonna list them all: Emma, Snow White, Charming, Rumple, Regina, Hook, Belle, Henry, Neil, Henry's father, and then the Wicked Witch. Those are the major characters of the season. So, one of those characters I listed is going to die. Only one of them. Not all of them. We wouldn't have a show if all of them died. So, one of them is going to die between those 10 characters I just mentioned. If you need another list, I posted it on Facebook and YouTube. Go check those posts out as we're watching the marathon if you need a reminder. But yes, one of those characters I mentioned will die. And with that said, we're going to get started. Like I said, I was going to try very hard. We started on time. I had that whole 10 minutes and I talked for 13. So I'm very sorry. But yes, push the episode. It's called The Tower. Season 3, episode 14. I hope whether it's DVD or Disney Plus, I would recommend you, but if you're using like a DVD, I would recommend you getting the DVD all set up, put the DVD in the DVD player, and have it on the play menu before you jump on this live stream. That way I'm not waiting so long for you to do that. So really, you should be like, if my live stream starts at 6:50, you should be like getting turning on your TV maybe at 6:40, putting the DVD in, and have it on the play menu by 6:50, and just listening to me talk for 10 minutes. Or as I'm talking from 6:50 to 7, make sure. Anyway, Disney Plus, hopefully you just have it quickly pulled up. Same thing with Disney Plus, though. As I'm talking the first 10 minutes, make sure you have it ready, because I hate waiting. But anyway, at Season 3, Episode 14, it's called The Tower. It's the Rapunzel episode. It's the only episode we will get to see Tangled. She doesn't make a cameo, unlike other characters in the past. She doesn't make any cameo appearances. She doesn't, she's actually only in this episode alone. No reference of her even. Like, she's completely forgotten about after this episode. Like, within the next. It's like it never happened. So anyway. So for those who love Tangled, embrace yourselves. But then after that, we have a funeral service. Kind of like Russell Nilsson, who died 2 weeks ago. And I have a great-grandmother who's almost dead. So we're facing a lot of loss in our family. And if you are too, then you might want to join us tonight with sorrow, okay? I'll try to keep the laughter and the commentary, I don't want to say to a minimum. I'm still probably going to talk, but I'm going to keep it respectful, okay? Alright, so if you're watching Disney Plus, timestamp's 44 minutes, 10 seconds. So when I push play, that's what your timestamp should say on the right side of your screen, it should say, when you pull up the show, and have it pause, the timestamp should say 44 minutes and 10 seconds. We're all going to push play at the same time. Are you ready? Countdown. And hang on. Okay, yep. Okay, I was gonna see how close it was to 7:05. Okay, ready? We're 5 minutes late. I'm sorry. Three, two, one, now. We talked for a whole 15 minutes, guys. Exactly. It was like 7:04, and right before I did the countdown, I went to click to see how much time was left until 7:05, and it completely changed as I clicked on it. So I should have just said 3, 2, 1 just to start right at 7:05, but it's okay. It's still 7:05 now, so wow, crazy. We started 5 minutes late, and we even started the live stream on time, so I don't know why we started the show 5 minutes late. So I don't know, have no idea. But anyway, Charming's having a dream, everybody. Charming's having a dream. A horrible nightmare. We might be able to make up our 5 minutes if we don't talk in between episodes, but I always don't deliver on that promise. While Charming's dreaming of Emma's baby crib, remember from season 1? This was going to be Emma's baby nursery. Doesn't it make sense for it to be there? Now, obviously, Emma did not go to the Enchanted Forest within the previous year. So this is just a dream. If anyone's confused, this is just a dream sequence. Someone's dreaming. Probably can guess who. One of these two. Emma and Charming are having their first dance because Charming's never taken his daughter to a ball before. And so... Unfortunately, you missed her growing up, so you never got a chance to take her to a royal ball. You failed me? Well, it is true. He put his daughter in a box and shipped her to Maine. And yeah, lost 28 years of her life. So maybe Charming's having a reflection of that. It's a nightmare. Because now remember, I forgot to mention this in the recap, Snow White's also pregnant. And she's about to have a baby that's due in a few episodes. And, like Emma just said, don't fail the next one. Meaning, don't miss out on your next baby. Watch it take its first steps. As Snow White said in Neverland, her first steps, her first word, her first smile. Make sure you watch. Make sure you're there for that this time. Hopefully, no curse forces you to put your baby in a wardrobe again. You hate to do that to a second baby now, would you? It is also weird to have grandparents who can still have a baby. I mean, if you hear noise in the background, that's just my family. See, so Snow White and Charming so Charming just woke up. It was a nightmare. He's not even telling Snow White about it. But Snow White just announced they're pregnant. And so that dream is a reminder that hopefully Charming doesn't fail to be a father. Because he's never been one with Emma. And, because the 28-year curse didn't make them age, it's kind of weird to see grandparents have babies. They're like almost 30, but like they were born 60 years ago, and they just didn't age for half of their life. No sign of Neil. We haven't seen him. If you remember last week, we haven't seen him at all in present day. Maybe that gives you a good idea That's one idea. I'm not gonna say more. There's many characters we haven't seen in present day. So that probably gives you an idea of who died. And speaking of which, who's back from the dead? That's not a spoiler. Rumpelstiltskin. We saw that last week. Unfortunately, to bring back a major character, I didn't want to spoil his return. I wanted you to be sad for his death back when we finished the Neverland arc. And, I wanted you to be sad for his death. But now he's back from the dead. And in order for him to be here on the show, another has to die. She has the Dark One dagger. She controls Rumple. Whoever holds the dagger controls Rumpelstiltskin. Rumple's not the dead one. Not anymore. He used to be a few episodes ago. Or because we watched the Wonderland series, it feels like a season ago. She's talking about her stepfather, by the way. Wicked Witch. She's shaving Rumple's facial hair. As you can see, Rumple usually doesn't wear facial hair, but because he's locked up in a monkey cage, he has no choice. And, yeah, the Wicked Witch is shaving him. Off topic. As you notice, I'm in church clothes. I had time to quickly change before the marathon started, but I thought for the funeral that's going to happen in the next episode, I figured I'd wear this. So he doesn't need him to. The Wicked Witch doesn't need Rumple to look good. It's something else that he needs her for. Her brain. His brain. See? No one in Storybrooke knows Rumple's alive. Only we do, and everyone still thinks he's dead, but he's still alive. Honestly, I should have took him off the list. I can tell you right now, Rumple's not the one who's gonna die next episode, because he just came back. And the only reason someone would die, unless they just, died for plot sake, the only reason someone would die is if they brought someone else back. So, that would be a good, not so random plot device. So, to bring Rumple back, they wouldn't just kill him again. He's already been dead. Wow. So the Wicked Witch stole something from Rumple's shop. How interesting. With Belle not noticing. Looks like, that, memory potion Regina was trying to make an episode ago. And she forgot to clean up. What a mess. Because remember the Wicked Witch broke in and escaped? It is true. Charming when he was more like a David freak, and he was cursed. He worked at the animal shelter, so he knows this kind of thing about Cherry. Wicked Witch to be careful because dropping evidence like that makes it a little easy for them to find her. Charming, go be with your wife. Now, Selena's trying to be a midwife by helping Snow White in her pregnancy, but they don't know that she's the Wicked Witch. Honestly, Charming, you should stay with them, but also be with your wife. And, for someone who doesn't know that's the Wicked Witch, you would be with your wife during those meetings with the midwife. I haven't even heard of midwives until this show. Does anyone still do midwives? Do you know anyone who is pregnant who uses a midwife to get through their pregnancy? Is that still a thing? You should let me know. In the comments below if anyone ever does. Oh yeah, I was gonna say in my church clothes, off topic earlier, I realized last week I did not put on my Once Upon a Time shirt, my Storybrooke shirt. And I haven't worn it since the Wonderland series, which is funny because that show didn't have Storybrooke in it. I should have kept the shirt off for that show, and I'm not wearing it for the actual show that has Storybrooke in it. I'm sorry. But yeah, part of the reason I didn't put it on was because of the funeral that's in the next episode, so anyway, sorry, no welcome to Storybrooke tonight, or last week. I should have worn it last week. I don't know why. Gotta remember next time. I mean, I would have done it today, but had time. I just chose not to. But yes, last week was an accident. So Charming's getting advice from Robin Hood, who's trying to overcome his fear of being a father, because he never was one with Emma. He put her in a wardrobe, that was it. That's not what most fathers do. So, if Robin Hood's right, there's this magical root, flower root, that allows you to overcome your fears. I want one of those. I'll stop being scared of dogs. I gotta, I gotta admit, I still have the childish fear of dogs sometimes. I'm sorry, it's just who I am. 23-year-old still scared of dogs. Not really. I'm not as scared as I used to be. I walk up to dogs just fine and I pet them. It's fine. But like because I used to be scared as a child and all through my childhood, I have the addictive nerve. I can't help myself but to frighten a little. Be like, ugh, when a dog barks and scares me just a little bit. I shake a little bit. That's it. As a kid, I used to run away from the dog. I used to take, maybe I'm not really scared of dogs, but my body is still reacting scared to them. I don't think we want Zelina to make Snow White and Charming tea. She's gonna put something in there. She's the Wicked Witch. I wish I could tell you that, Charming. Wicked Witch trying to pretend to be a midwife. Again, for anyone watching, put in the comments, hey, do midwives still exist? Because I haven't heard of them until this show. My mom never used a midwife to help her get through her pregnancy. It's kind of funny. A fake midwife, that is. The Wicked Witch was never a midwife. She's just plain cover. Okay. Oh, I got a message! Yay, I got a comment, bro! You so loud. Talk quieter. Or turn your mic down. Okay. I guess I gotta talk quieter. I'm so loud. Sorry. Whoops. Alright. Let's try to be quieter, I guess. Hopefully you can still hear me. No comments for Facebook so far. Alright. Sorry, as we're watching the show, I'm gonna check for comments because when I first started this, people got upset that I didn't respond to their comments when normally I do that at the end after we watch the episodes. But because of other people, I'm gonna do it as we're watching instead of at the end. So here we go. Finally, Tangle, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Charming's climbing up the tower. He reminds me of Flynn Rider, except he's already married to Snow White. So, this is kind of a twist. Tangled, if I recall right, not the Disney version, but even in the regular Tangled, whoever saves her from the tower doesn't, they end up together? Charming is already married to Snow White. Rapunzel can't be with him. He can't be Flynn Rider and Prince Charming. It's crazy. And this might shock you a little bit. I know you're used to blonde hair and a peachy skin, Tangled, but this one, they once upon a time likes to change their they like to change their race sometimes to get it a little more diversity. So if you never seen, what's the right term? If you never seen African American Rapunzel, here you go. In fact, I don't think we had a lot of people African American in the show until about now, so I think this is a good diversity to finally add some. And remember Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. They changed the gender. Jack's short for Jacqueline. Once Upon a Time's good at mashing up their fairy tales and giving it a more uh, a more diversity between women and men roles and black and white. So, welcome Rapunzel. Black hair, by the way. It's not exactly the Disney version, but my hair is messy. I didn't realize that. Excuse me. And turn my volume a little bit down. There we go. Oh, looks like someone else is climbing up the tower. That is true. They gone from 0 to due date in the blink of an eye because they forgot the previous year. In the previous year, Snow White's already been pregnant for 8.5 months. She's only a couple weeks away from having that baby. And also a few episodes. But more than 3, so we're not going to get to that tonight. But anyway, she's almost about to have a baby. And hopefully this time Charming overcomes the fear of losing that baby, because just because you lost Emma doesn't mean you're going to lose this one. As you can see, she's still pregnant in the present storyline. You know, we just got an announcement of her pregnancy in the past, but we didn't, you know. But unfortunately, the curse was cast before the baby was born. So I mean, Selena. If only people could see behind that peachy skin, she has green. Man, I wonder if Alphabet can disguise as a munchkin or something. She can't take away her green skin, but she can hide it, just like the Wicked Witch on Once Upon a Time, right? She can hide her green skin. Charming's gonna go face his fear, it looks like. Because he drank whatever was in that tea, and it could have been the flower Robin Hood talked about. The one that allows you to face your fear once you drink it. It's funny, Henry and Regina hanging out. If only Regina knew. If only Henry knew Regina was his adopted mother. Yep, everybody knows everybody. Imagine you're going on the walk with the mayor of your town. That must be a little nerve wracking. Especially if you don't know that's your mother. Man, Henry, if only you knew. If only you knew why Emma left. Not because Walt was a bad guy. She would have married him if it weren't for Hook. Fairy tales have to come first before your fiancés, guys. So before fairy tales are more important than weddings. Hook is hiding something. He did something in that previous year that he doesn't want to admit. Another episode we're not going to get to till next week. Snow White's baby being born. Hook's little secret he's hiding from Emma. I know these episodes so well, and I know we're not getting to those clues tonight. But the clues tonight we're going to get are how Charming faces his fear, which is not really that important. And then someone's going to die. Someone major. That's important. That's what we're all here for. Can't wait for that next episode we're going to watch after this. And then we're going to see our first showdown between the Evil Queen and the Wicked Witch. That will be fun. So, if at any point you guys get bored in this episode, just wait until the next one. It's going to get sad. You got to get your funeral attire on. I hope you already have it on, since we're watching this right now. If you don't, you have 15 minutes before we start the next episode. The Wicked Witch lives in a farmhouse. There's the berries that got squashed on the mayor's floor. Sorry, I hope I'm talking quiet. Someone's coming after Charming. Who is it? Oof. Be careful, Charming. Charming's gonna try to save Rapunzel in the flashback. Where did the figure go? Where did the hooded figure go that was climbing the tower? It's above you. Better watch out, Charming. Watch out. Ouch, that must have hurt to run into that desk and have everything fall on top of you. Ouch. Again, in the present day, he's in the middle of the woods trying to face his fear. And he looked behind a tree, no one was there. Oh, but someone was behind him. Ooh, he's knocked out. There's Em and Hook going to the farmhouse. The farmhouse of the Wicked Witch. It's a bike. Is that Dorothy's bike? No. But we will get to see Dorothy in a later episode. Dorothy from Kansas. Hey, Kansas is a real world place. It's a real world state. Dorothy's from the real world. Some fairy tale characters are from the real world. Besides Henry and Emma. Just like Wendy and the Darling family from London. Except that I wouldn't call that real world because they're stuck in the 1800s. The real world is in the 2000s right now. Man, they were so close to find out Rumple's alive, but the thing is locked. So they're gonna call Regina. I mean, it's a good thing they didn't find out yet. Because that's gonna be next episode's problem. When they find out Rumple's alive, someone's gonna die. Charming's getting choked to death. Who's trying to choke him? Another Charming? 2 Charmings? What? That wouldn't make sense. See in the flashback form when Rapunzel's trapped in the tower. What? So we have 2 Rapunzels and 2 Charmings? When you face your fear, you have a double twin? Charming's greatest fear is that he'll never be a good father because he failed the first time. He has to face that fear. Rapunzel's. To overcome your fears, you have. To face your fears, you have to defeat yourself. A shepherd boy who strayed too far from his farm. That's kind of interesting to say. Sword fight. More sword fight. Wow. Charming fighting against himself? I wonder who wins. There's only one answer. Charming. Who wins? Only one answer. Rapunzel. Oh good, Charming pushed the evil Rapunzel out off the tower. The good Rapunzel is still up there stuck. Okay, now that that's mentioned, it's not a spoiler. Rapunzel's fear is that she'll never be a good leader, like her parents, like her father. She'll never be a good leader of Corona. So Rapunzel has to face her fear of being a leader, a queen, and stuff. Charming has to face his fear of being a father. Face your fear, Rapunzel. Face your fear. Defeat yourself. You can do it. Face your fear. Defeat yourself. Defeat yourself. Face your fear. Defeat yourself. And I think she's gone. You faced your fear. You defeated the flower dust spell. the Robin Hood thing. keep mentioning Robin Hood. He's the one who mentioned it. Charming's sword got cut in half. Now it's time for Charming to face his fear. Not Rumple. Rapunzel faced hers. Now it's time for Charming to face his. Charming is choking Charming. That's good to say. Charming is choking Charming. How charming that is. Charming, charming, charming in one sentence 3 times. Wow. Oh, Emma's coming. Emma's coming. Yes, you defeated yourself. He feared that he couldn't be a good father, and he's not going to let that stop him. He's going to be the best father he can be. Then stabs him with a half-broken sword. You defeated yourself, Charming. Good job. You defeated the dust test as well. Now, I hope we're done with that flower dust. Now his hands are dirty. Let's send that witch back to Oz. Let's end this. No, we're not ending this. This is only the 3rd episode of 11. Guys, we're not ending this. The Wicked Witch is going to be here till the season finale. Come on. You're not going to get rid of her in this episode. I know for a fact she's going to be here for 7 more episodes. She's actually not in the season finale. They kill her off a little bit earlier than that. There's a reason why for that. I'm not going to spoil. But she's going to be here for, I guess, 6 more episodes, not counting this one that we're almost done with. She stays around. This is episode 14. She stays around till episode 20. And out of 22, you know. So, anyway, not the last 2 episodes. But unlike Peter Pan, who stayed for 11 episodes entirely, Wicked Witch is only staying for 9. Don't know why. That's just how they planned the show. But the whole half season is Oz arc, because the last 2 episodes is still Oz theme. You know, when Dorothy she gets the slippers and goes back home to Kansas, she says there's no place like home. There's a message that involves no place like home in the last 2 episodes. But luckily, we're not at the end of the season. We're nowhere close. So. Thank you, Charming. Thank you for confessing to Snow that you are afraid of being a father. Now she can comfort you and give you hope. She was not being a good mother either. She had to give up her child too. So they're facing parenthood for the first time with a second baby. They're not doing it alone. They're doing this together for the first time. Being a father means raising your children. Come on. If you don't raise your children, that's not really being a father. But sometimes you have to give up your children to give them their best chance. That's what the show teaches you. There's a lot of abandonment with Rumple's son, and then Bellefire's son, Rumple's grandson. Emma was even on the other side of the family. Emma was even abandoned by Snow and Charming. Oh, and Rumple was abandoned by his father, Peter Pan. And for Snow and Charming, it starts with them. It didn't run really in their family that much. Just a couple times. But Rumple's side of the family, it happened a lot. Peter Pan, Rumple was abandoned. A lot of people were abandoned. Wow. What a cycle. The Wicked Witch stole Charming's courage. How did she do that? You know, the Cowardly Lion? He wanted courage from the Wizard of Oz. Remember? Everything ties in with the Wizard of Oz. And remember, Dorothy had 3 companions. The Cowardly Lion, who needed courage. The Tin Man, who needed a heart. And the Scarecrow, who needed a brain. Those are the same ingredients in Once Upon a Time. Wicked Witch is stealing Charming's courage. She's going to want someone's heart. And she's going to want a brain. I'm not going to spoil whose brain or whose heart. But that's a little hint of where we're going this season. She needs those ingredients for a spell. That's how you get the Wizard of Oz. Just like Dorothy's friends here. Finally. We're going to find out who's down there. They're finally going to know Rumple's alive. Because that's where Rumple's cage is. There's definitely dark magic here? Yes, Rumple's the dark one. Except Rumple's gone. He escaped. He escaped from his cage. I know. Whatever I feel is not good. Yes, flying monkeys go in cages. Not monkeys. Look, there's a spinning wheel. How many people do we know that turns straw into gold? Rumpelstiltskin. Now the characters know. We as an audience already knew this. But the characters know that Rumple's alive. Which means someone died. And we're about to watch that episode. Right here on Once Upon a Time. Credits rolling right now. Okay, you can push the next episode. But I'm going to talk for like 30 seconds. Okay, so push the next episode. And we're going to watch the recap. Like previously on Once Upon... Okay, so pause it. And if it takes you a few seconds to pause it, then rewind it. And make sure, if you want to stay in sync with my commentary, make sure you have 44 minutes and 9 seconds on your timestamp. Okay? I'll repeat. 44 minutes and 9 seconds. Now, I promised I wasn't going to talk in between episodes. But yes. Emma and Hook, remember they were at the farmhouse. They found this, they found this bunker, but it was locked. Then they came back. They found it was unlocked, but they didn't want to go in without magic protection, so they wanted to get Regina first. They got Regina, and now they're finally going in there. I can see it was just excuses to avoid, the characters finding out Rumple was alive until the end of the episode. As an audience member, that's how TV shows go. They save big plot reveals for the end. So anyway, yes, now, not only we know Rumple's alive, the characters know Rumple's alive. So now that that's solved, we can move on from Rumple being alive and figure out who died. That's what next episode's going to be about. Someone died. So are you ready to get your funeral on? Are you ready to say goodbye? God be with you till we meet again. Are you ready to see who passes on to the spirit world? It's kind of like trading places with the people in the spirit world. Rumple was in the spirit world and then he came back to live again. On Earth. He's immortal. He's immortal, but you know what I mean. But in order for someone to come back to this life, someone else has to go to the next life. So who is it going to be? Well, let's start that episode right now. Look, it was 7:48 when the episode ended, and now it's 7:49. I only wasted 1 minute. So, okay, hopefully we can still catch up. Since we were 5 minutes behind originally. Okay, I'm going to say, okay. Last time we started at 7:05. Now we're starting at 7:50. So I guess I did talk too much in between episodes to spare off time. We're still starting 5 minutes late for the next episode. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm going to start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, starting now. Barely changed to 7:50 before I pushed play. Barely. Selena, Regina's sister, Rumple's alive, Wicked Witch, Wicked always wins. That was a short recap. Everyone's going to Granny's. Granny. No one gets between Leroy, Grumpy, and his bacon. They imagine being able to come into a diner before it opens. That must be cool. I mean, it's normal if you're an employee, but not a customer. Yeah, Rumpel disappeared into nothingness. How is he still alive? Good question. Yep. Rumpelstiltskin's the only one who knows who the Wicked Witch is, and if you could tell them, it will make this plot a lot easier to follow. I mean, it is easy to follow, but it'll make the fairy tale characters a lot easier to figure out how to defeat her instead of figuring out how to find her. They could focus on how to defeat her. Speaking of the devil, happy Wicked Witch to you. And it's funny because there's no magic in the real world, so she can't even have her green skin even if she wanted it. Rumpel has escaped. As you remember from the end of last episode we just watched, they went down there only to find out he wasn't in the cage. And they only know he's alive because they saw his straw wheel that can turn straw into gold. Speaking of title sequence, we get to see Lumiere. Have you remember Lumiere and Cotsworth from Once Upon a Time? I mean, from Beauty and the Beast? We haven't seen them in Once Upon a Time. We're gonna see Lumiere. Hook's gonna keep Belle company. That's kind of scary. That was a season ago, Belle. Belle hasn't really seen Hook since he tried to kill her, so Belle doesn't trust Hook. Hook was a evil villain in season 2, so I mean. Exactly. You need your rest. No, you're pregnant. Stop taking the battlefield. You need to rest until that baby's born. Stay off the playing field for now. Belle's gonna do research and find 1 year ago. Okay. Anyway, we're in the flashback, but Belle's gonna do some research and find out what Rumpel's going through and keep an eye out for if he comes to her. I'm tired, guys. There's Bellfire. We haven't seen him at all last episode. We were focused on Charming and Snow in the flashback. We didn't see Bellfire at all tonight. This is cool. We're going to see him now. Bellfire really wants to get back to Emma and Henry. He really wants to get back. He really wants to get back with Rumpel and his father. Yeah. Who is his father? Yeah. Sorry for that glove. Yeah. Please don't tell me. Someone's telling me I lost Wi-Fi. My connection's not doing very good. That will be bad. If my YouTube live stream shuts off, guys, Facebook somehow has the ability to keep going even when I lose internet connection, so keep that in mind. If we lose internet. Uh, it's happened before during my live stream. If we lose internet and the YouTube live stream shuts down, I will use the Facebook version that hopefully will still be running like it did in the past. And it's happened twice. Um, if and I will download the video to YouTube. It won't appear as a live stream though. It will appear as a video, but you should still be able to watch it later if this shuts down. So hopefully it doesn't. But I'm getting a warning that I'm losing connection. So pre-warning. I hope I don't disturb anyone who might be watching. It doesn't show anyone that is watching though. But still, just thought I'd let you know. On my YouTube platform, it tells me how many people are watching, and it says 0. A lot of times there's like 2 or 3, but anyway. No reason to click off if the numbers are lying. Please stick around. If the live stream shuts down, though, just know there's internet problems. So I'm still gonna act like this is still running though, because it looks like it's still fine, but I'm getting warnings, so just pre-warning you. Henry doesn't have his memories. That's kind of sad. He doesn't know all this fairy tale nonsense. Mm-hmm. Oh, Bellfire, we finally get to see him in present day. Isn't that amazing? It's so. Oh. This is kind of unfair. Emma doesn't want to get Henry's memories back because then she'll try to convince her to stay in Storybrooke like he did in season 1. By not getting his memories back, he's like the opposite of other Henry. He's new version of Henry is with his new memories of not being not growing up with Regina as his mother, growing up with just Emma, wants to go back to New York. And, Emma likes that because she doesn't like doing this fairy tale business after being in New York for a year. So she kind of wants him to forget. But that's not fair to Neil for him to think that for Henry to think that he was a bad father, because he really wasn't. August told him to leave Emma behind because of the curse and the prophecy. It wasn't his fault. He was just following what was prophesied. But, as an Emma who didn't believe in fairy tales, that's not how she looked at it. She thought he was just leaving her for all the watches he stole. And unfortunately, that's not the truth. And Neil doesn't deserve to be the jerk that abandoned him. Emma abandoned in real life. Henry's memories are fake. Emma abandoned him too. But, if you remember Regina, when he gave them new memories and a new life, he made it so Emma never gave up Henry for adoption. So there's Lumiere. I didn't make that comment before when they first brought him to life because I was too busy talking about the live stream warnings. So this is Belle and Bellfire. That's weird to say. Belle and Bellfire. Belle and Neil. Let's say that. Belle and Neil. They just finished their conversation with Lumiere in this scene. And the Wicked Witch, and we just find out now that he's working with the Wicked Witch. Looks like everything's still running pretty fine as far as the live stream's concerned. We're kind of losing internet, but hopefully it doesn't ruin anything. Oh my goodness, we don't want Lumiere to be the wax seal of an envelope. Wicked Witch is very threatening. We actually don't get to see Codsworth, though. Sorry if I was exciting you there for a minute. It's just Lumiere. Orange juice, that helps the pregnancy a lot. Man, if only they knew Zelena was the Wicked Witch. Stop using her as your, handmaid, Snow. She's not, midwife. She's a Wicked Witch of the West. She knows about it. She knows that people are looking for her. She's pretending like she's innocent. I mean, pregnancy is hard work, I'm guessing. Harder work than fighting a Wicked Witch. I'm sure many women watching would agree. Carrying a baby is not easy. Oh my goodness. You're not letting her have the baby without you? I think you want the baby, Zelena. You need the baby for your spell. It just occurred to me, because Regina and Robin Hood from the flashback haven't met in Storybrooke yet. And look, this is how they meet. Robin Hood's about to attack her. You thought Robin was a flying monkey? That's funny. Robin of Locksley, really. I like Robin Hood better. Regina and Robin work together. Remember what Tinkerbell said? This was Regina's. No one can replace Daniel, but this is Regina's. This is Regina's new soulmate, new true love. Kind of like when, like Russell and Nilsson got remarried to Wendy, right? This is Regina's new love. Cora's not around to pull his heart out, so I mean, this should be fine, right? Regina shouldn't lose her happy ending this time. Cora's out of the picture. Regina and Robin are meant to be together, according to Pixie Dust, so yeah. Sorry, I realized I started talking loud again. Again, what's that triangle on Neil's hand? Green Jello? Didn't didn't Hook have green Jello when he was in the hospital in season 2? I think he did, or it was blue, I guess. Hook also had Jello, so he's returning the favor and giving Neil Jello. Jello's a good food in the show. You know, green is a good color for this season because Neverland was green, Oz is green, Wonderland's not, but that was a separate show. So all of this has been green, green season, and yet the cover of the season is a red apple, which has nothing to do with the color of the season. It's kind of funny. They should have done a green apple on the cover, honestly. They should have just done green. Hook and Neil, they never get enough time together. Now, I know what you're thinking. There is no love triangle here. Because I said the love triangle is not going to last very long. Hook and Neil both love Emma Swan. Now, here's the awkward note. See, remember that flashback of when Neil came to Neverland, and Hook was teaching him to be a pirate before Hook gave in to his old ways and handed him off to the Lost Boys. Hook was technically a stepfather to Neil because Hook was in love with Neil's mother. So I mean, it's kind of awkward that they're both fighting for the same woman because Emma, who married Neil, it's kind of weird to think of Hook falling in love with his stepson's wife. That's like, okay, let me put it this way to make it less complicated. You are married to somebody, right? They die, okay? And then you marry their okay, so let's just say the person you married had kids before you. So they're not your children, but they're your stepchildren, right? That spouse dies, and then you marry one of their children. So, okay, I'll put this in an example. I have an uncle. I'll not do names. I have an uncle and an aunt. And this is not death, but this is divorce. They got divorced and remarried. Or not remarried, but they are living with someone else. My 2 aunts have the same first name. But anyway, for any cousins watching, now you know who I'm talking about. This uncle, imagine instead of marrying another blonde, dark hair and blonde hair. Okay, we'll call them dark hair, blonde hair. This uncle of mine married a dark hair and then broke up and was with a blonde hair. Imagine instead of a blonde hair person, he married my cousin. The one that's the dark hair's daughter. So That is weird. To marry, to marry, to marry Addison, or that, or I can't say it with that. I can't have it make sense without saying her name. Sorry. So it's weird for my uncle to marry Addison. That's weird. That is weird. That's what it's like for Hook to pursue Emma, who is technically, who, if he adopted Neil, could have been Emma could have been Hook's daughter-in-law. Anyway, I'm wasting so much time just trying to talk about that. I'm sorry, that's like not the center of attention of this episode. And we only missed 2 scenes. So what's happened while I was saying that is Neil and Bellfire are going to the vault of the Dark One to resurrect Rumple, and in the present, a monkey was attacking the fairy tale characters. So that, and they found Rumple in the woods. And then Regina and Robin are having a moment right now. So we're all caught up. My live stream's still working well, even though I keep getting that internet connection warning. Let's just hope we can survive the night. No, that's whiskey. That's not magical. No drinking, guys. This is a bar drink. I mean, they're not in a bar. They're in the Wicked Witch's barn house, but this is don't be drinking. Don't be drinking alcohol, people. I think whiskey's alcohol. Does whiskey have alcohol in it? I don't know. But I know whiskey is something you only get at a bar, and I will never drink that. Oh, see. Regina's now recognizing the line tattoo that Tinkerbell was talking about. And Regina, after just discovering that Robin is her true love, she's kind of shy and walks away. Come on, Regina, it's your true love. Get used to it. Yeah, you're dealing with the son of Rumpelstiltskin. Be careful, Emma Swan. Lumiere. The West of Oz, not the Enchant Forest. Lumiere was working for the Wicked Witch this whole time, and he just he just gave him his cover was blown when he mentioned 200 years. Rumpel was barely even alive that long, and he didn't make the library for Belle until 30 years ago, so it's like a lie. I know. She's already under Rumpel's control in the present storyline, so I know they fail at this, but they don't want the Wicked Witch to control Rumpel. That would make a mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it, Neil. We don't want him to do this. Life for life, remember, bring Rumpel back from the dead. What Rumpel doesn't know is that the price of bringing the Dark One is death. The price of bringing someone back from the back to the land of the living is death. And he's been marked. Oh no. I think we know who died. Except we just saw him in present day. Like, they were so good at keeping him out of the present storyline until this episode. So you're probably wondering, then, why is he alive walking with Emma in the woods right now? Well, find out. There's a reason. There's a reason why his life was preserved until this very episode. It does make sense. There is logic behind the reason why he didn't die in the flashback. Rumpel, back from the dead. Now we actually get to see how he came back. That was cool. I love New York pizza. I was there a year and a half ago. Life is good. Neat. Not Neil. You were about to marry Wash, Wizard of Oz monkey guy. I'm not gonna marry a flying girl monkey. No, hey, if someone proposes to you, don't say yes until you know they're not a flying monkey. I think that's easy to say. Yeah. And Neil just said, yeah. Don't worry, I understand. I almost married a minion of my my grandfather, Peter Pan. So I know what you're saying. He did almost marry Wendy. He was kind of in love with her when he lived with the Darlings. That would have been cool. Wendy Darling changes to Wendy Bellfire? That's weird. Wendy. Yeah. Why are we tail talking? Neverland was so feels like last season, but last arc. So, last 2 arcs ago, if we want to count the spin-off series. We're talking about Wizard of Oz here. Why do we need Neverland cameos? We're done with that. Pan's dead, too. I bet you can guess how the Wicked Witch might die. A bucket of water like the fairy tale just... No one can die from just a spill of water unless it was boiling hot lava. So sorry, I should not have been talking. Belle was saying that in order to resurrect the Dark One, someone has to give their life with a key. And if Neil used that key, he should have been dead by now. And, well, yes, that goes further explaining the plot hole of why he's alive in the present day, but there's another twist behind the story. He didn't just die right away. Rumpel kind of did something to keep him alive till now in Storybrooke. Unfortunately, I think the Wicked Witch is more powerful than Rumpelstiltskin because she was able to grab the dagger from him. He kind of chose, Rumpel kind of chose his son over the dagger. I mean, you got your son, but you lost yourself. So if you didn't understand what happened, Rumpel was choosing to protect his son over the power of the dagger, which is the first time he's made such a decision, because last time he did that, he chose the dagger, but he chose his son. He chose his son. Now the Wicked Witch with the dagger is commanding Rumpel to kill Belle. Oh my goodness, Belle is like almost his true love. He doesn't want to kill his future wife. Okay, good. Yeah, the Wicked Witch still has the dagger, but Rumpel doesn't have to listen to her command if she's being captured by Lumiere, right? Wicked Witch is like, you're gonna regret this candle. I hope nothing bad happens to Lumiere. See, that Emma just said it to you guys. Rumpelstiltskin is still inside her, and that's why he's still alive. When Rumpel and Neil combined bodies, with Rumpel being immortal and Neil being on his deathbed, kind of kept Neil alive, combining bodies together. That's kind of a weird interpretation, but that's kind of a weird way to keep someone alive. But unfortunately, Neil can't handle the pain of being two identities at the same time, so that's why he's been able to switch between Rumpel and Neil, and why Neil and Rumpel can't be in the same scene, because they're the same person. They just keep switching bodies back and forth. Not literally switching bodies, but like see, he's turning Neil's right now. Emma's using her magic to turn Neil back into Rumpel, and then also separating Neil from Rumpel's body. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can save him. Once you resurrect the Dark One, your fate is sealed. You gave up your time on this earth just to get your father back. It's too late. You'd have to kill Rumpel in order to be alive. Guys, if you had a choice, who would you keep? Bellfire or Rumpel? Neil or Rumpel? Henry's father or Henry's grandfather? Who would you rather keep alive? Your dad or your grandfather? Are you really... Can't you love them equally? Don't you love them too much you can't choose between the two? What if you could only have one? Is it better to grow up without a father or without a grandfather? Promise me you'll both be happy, Emma and Henry. Emma will keep her promise to Neil. It's Neil's turn to die. Rumpel was a great example of sacrificing his life for the people he loved when he killed Pam, but now it's Neil's turn to die and let Rumpel come back alive to live. Not everyone gets a second chance on this earth, you know? Rumpel gets a second chance. I love you, Papa, was Neil's last words. And now he died. The episode has revealed the death of our funeral service. Neil Cassidy, also known as Bellfire, son of Rumpelstiltskin, has just passed away with 8 minutes of episode time left. That's kind of sad, guys. That's Henry's father we're talking about here. Like, almost as important as the main character, Emma Swan. Now, I told you the love triangle wasn't going to last long between Neil and Hook. It's also awkward. The fact that Neil was kind of Hook's son in a way. Well, if you can stop thinking about that family grossness, you can now root for Emma and Hook. Now there's room for Emma and Hook to fall in love, because Neil's not there to be in the way of that. Emma's available to date Hook. Neil's dead. Emma just lost him 3 times. First, Neil abandoned her for the watches he stole. And then Neil also died in a portal at the end of season 2. Remember that? When his evil fiance shot him? But then he survived and went to Neverland. This time he died and he's not going to survive. It's not a spoiler that he's not going to survive. It's fact. He actually left the show not to come back, except for flashback cameos occasionally. So we will see him for flashback cameos occasionally, but other than flashback cameos before his death, we're not going to see him in the present storyline again. They know he's the Wicked Witch. Neil sacrificed his life so that Rumpel can be alive and tell them who the Wicked Witch is, and now they know it's Zelena. So, after our funeral service, we're going to have a showdown between Wicked versus Evil. No good in the equation. It's just Wicked versus Evil, guys. Which side are you on? Even though you'd prefer none of them. Which is worse, Evil or Wicked? Outer Darkness or Wicked Darkness? Wicked, I can't say it. I was gonna say, the lowest kingdom of glory, the Telestial. I was gonna say, Wicked Lestral? Which one's better? Telestial or which one's worser? Telestial or Wicked Lestral? I can't say it. Once Upon a Time likes to separate Wicked from Evil. They're two separate, there's 2 different types of evils. Anyway. Rumpel can't even attend the funeral because he's captured by the Wicked Witch. He's stuck in his monkey cage. He can't even attend the funeral. It's kind of sad. Rumpel did not be there for his own son. Take a break from the mourning of Neil, and note that Regina's watching Robin Hood play with his little son, Roland, and Regina's wondering if her heart's really open to happiness or if she's still clinging to the past. And then we have Snow White and Charming breaking the news to Belle that Neil just died. Separating Rumpel's body from him and giving up his life so they can know who the Wicked Witch is. It's kind of sad. The worst part is that at least everyone got to see Neil one more time in the hospital before he died, and except for Henry. Henry still doesn't have his memories back, and he didn't even get to see Neil since the Pan arc ended. The last time he saw Neil was right after Peter Pan died and the curse was cast. It's kind of sad that he never got to see Neil one last time in this Wicked Witch arc. And in fact, even worse, Henry, before this, was captive by Peter Pan, so he never got to spend real much time with his father because he was too busy being captive by Pan. And then before that, he lost his father through a portal. And then before that, they were dealing with Cora. There was just a lot of stuff going on in Storybrooke. And before that, they just barely found out that Neil was Henry's dad. And so, And that kind of, the rest is history. Henry has never had a chance, even with his memories back, had a chance to know his dad, like he did his mom in season 1. He never got a chance to know his dad, with or without his memories. That's kind of sad. It's like growing up without a father and not even meeting him before he dies. You just attend his funeral and wish you got to meet him. Emma's breaking the news to Henry that Neil died. Emma wants revenge. I'm gonna find the person who's responsible for Henry's father's death and stop him. You know, it's like finding, like, someone murdered your father and you wanna catch them. It's best if the police do it. But anyway, you don't want the killer to kill you now, would you? Okay. So yes, push the next episode because the credits are rolling. We did not get the funeral service, so I guess it's in this episode, the Wicked versus Evil episode. It is like a 5-minute service, so it does take 5 minutes of the episode, and it's gonna probably be the first thing we watch. And so before we watch it, 44 minutes and 7 seconds for Disney Plus goers, okay? Anyone who's watching it on Hulu or DVD, it's different, but 44 minutes and 7 seconds. Anyway, I should have said that with the other episodes, but anyway, before we watch the next episode, not to talk too much, but quickly, Neil just died, and we found out how. He was supposed to die in the flashback, but the reason why he stayed alive is he combined bodies with Rumpelstiltskin. And then, after a whole year in the Enchanted Forest, he's now in Storybrooke. He can't handle being two identities. He can't handle being two people. So Emma decides to separate them because they need to know who the Wicked Witch is. And while Neil is stuck in Rumpel's body, he can't tell them who the Wicked Witch is unless he's Rumpel. So they decided to separate Rumpel and Neil from their two bodies, and he can't control when he switches back and forth between Rumpel and Neil, so it's like, the only way we're gonna get what we want, especially about the Wicked Witch and her whereabouts, is to separate Rumpel and Neil. But by separating Neil from Rumpel's body, Neil dies. And the last thing Neil wished on Emma was to let Henry know that he was a good father. Because the only thing Henry knows is that he was a bad father, and he abandoned Emma, and he was a bad daddy, right? They even said that in New York before Emma got her memories back. But since Henry didn't get his memories back, this is like the opposite. In season 1, Henry was the one who believed in fairy tales and tried to get Emma to believe. It's hard for a child to get an adult to believe in fairy tales, but for an adult to get a child to believe in fairy tales, that should usually be easy. But Henry's kind of a teenager now, so it's still kind of hard. And once you're a teenager, you grow out of that. The whole magic is real thing. But anyway, Henry is growing up on the show, guys. He's not the little kid you met in season 1. But anyway, but yeah, Neil just died so that he could know who the Wicked Witch is. It's just kind of sad. We should get into the next episode, I know. But one thing I wanted to say is that Emma's now telling Henry that Neil was a good father, and Henry's like, that you're not making any sense right now, because you all my life you told me how bad he was. How could you ever say he's good after what you told me about him? Well, I mean, it's a little complicated than that, because what Emma used to know before believing in fairy tales is different than what she knows after believing in fairy tales. Neil abandoned Emma with good reason, and they made up for that, right? Neil even apologized in season 2. Emma and Neil had a spark, after they found out how evil Tamara was. Neil and Henry wanted to try to get his parents back together. You know, Neil and Emma. The only problem with that is Hook was kind of in the way, and I told you, I know you probably don't like love triangles, but luckily, like I said, the love triangle we started forming in season 3, we're still in season 3, and that triangle is now dissolved. I told you it wasn't going to last long, so keep watching the show. It's not a love triangle. It's going to be Emma and Hook, okay? We all know that now. I didn't want to say it until this episode, because I didn't want to spoil, but now we know it's going to be Emma and Hook that end up being together, because Neil is out of the picture. Henry's father is out of the picture. Now meet the stepfather, Hook, who never dies. You know, he goes through a lot of pain, but never dies. I should not spoil that. There are going to be a few times where he does die, but then comes back and fakes his death or something like that. So anyway, I'm sorry I said all that. Let's just get into the next episode now, because it's 8:37. I was hoping to start at 8:35 because the episode ended at 8:33, and I, as much as I promised I wasn't going to talk in between episodes, I'm sorry. But I was hoping to at least keep it 2 minutes and not 4. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to do a countdown first, though. 3, 2, 1, now. No recap. We're just going right into the episode, and it's a Oz tornado. An Oz tornado, guys. Oh my goodness. And a crying baby, too. Aww. It's a baby. This episode we just started will be our last one for tonight, by the way. Yep, our live stream just shut down. I'm sorry to say, but our live stream got shut down because of the internet. I knew that was probably going to happen. Now I have to download it and add it to, and I have to download it from Facebook and add it to the internet. It's always frustrating when live streams shut down like that. Let's see, Facebook is still good. We're still running pretty well on Facebook, so. Luckily, I stopped deciding to do 2 introductions, you know, ever since for the past while, instead of saying hi to YouTube and Facebook, I wait until both streams have started to say hi to both audiences, so. Luckily, you're not missing anything, right? Luckily, YouTube's not going to be missing anything, Facebook goers. And now I know I'm just talking Facebook, but I know YouTube will be seeing this later, so I'm talking on behalf of YouTube. I'm sad that my live stream got shut down right before the funeral, because now the flashback just showed how Zelena, the Wicked Witch, came to Oz, and the adoptive parents from Oz that adopted her, you know, and then in present day we're getting that funeral. It's the funeral of Neil Cassidy, Bellfire, Rumpelstiltskin's son. His coffin is even red. It's kind of red. I want a red coffin. It's not the first time we had a funeral on the show, but it is the first person who, well, it's not the first person who dies either. I was going to say, last time we had a funeral was for Archie, but his death wasn't even real. But then again, Graham died, and we didn't get a funeral on him. It's kind of sad. Rumpel just lost his son. He went through, do you remember the big plot that we've been dealing with this past 2.5 seasons? The whole idea, you know, the whole big scheme of the entire show was that Rumpel, planned, you know, for having the power of foresight, you know, and having abandoned his son and instantly regretting it. Rumpel, you know, planned for years on the dark curse in Regina and prophesied that Regina would be the one to cast it so that he could go to the world his son is in and then, you know, find his son. He created a curse that Regina casted that brought everyone to Storybrooke, made them forget who they were for 28 years, and then when the curse was broken, he would go and find his son. He did all this work to find his son, only to lose him a season later. You know? Because they found him in Season 2, Episode 14 to be exact, and now we're in Season 3, Episode 16, so a little more than a season. But, you know, a season later, Neil dies. He was. Yeah. Wicked Witch knows nothing about family. Wicked Witch just chastised Rumple. And and she was like, was casting the curse, waiting for it to be broken, and coming all the way to New York to find Bellfire, only to find out he dies a year later. Was he really worth all that trouble? And Rumple's like, yes, he was family. Something that the Wicked Witch doesn't care or know nothing about. Only because her family resented her, as we see in this flashback right now. Her stepfather does not love her. He's kind of abusive. He's been treating her abusively her whole life, and that's what caused the Wicked Witch to become wicked and go to the Wizard of Oz for help. Exactly. Why would you call your own daughter wicked? I'm not gonna call her that. Unless she's wickedly cool and wicked style dressing. No, she's not wicked. The Wizard of Oz. She's gonna go to the Wizard of Oz to find a family who is actually not abusive. She wants to find her biological family, but to be fair, Cora wasn't a good mother either. I mean, the Wicked Witch's stepmother was better than the father. She was actually nice, and then once the mother died, the father became abusive. The mother was only acting nice around his wife. I wonder why he even married her. Didn't she know his true character of being abusive? Behind her back? Because I guess he was never abusive to his wife, but Zelina's wicked father. Perhaps I can talk to him. Hook kind of knows Bellfire. Sorry, I'm having internet connections, and now it's stopping my show. So now our audio is not going to be in sync. This is not fun, guys. Okay. My audio was like, my video was like paused for 10 seconds. So if you could pause yours 10 seconds, it won't be exactly on point, but I will. I don't care at this point. I want to get through the rest of this episode. Hey! Hey! Okay. I'm gonna... There we go. Emma's gonna trust Hook to take care of Henry. There's Tinkerbell. We haven't seen her since the first half of season 3. Yeah, I mean, she lost her wings the last time Regina was aggressive, but she's actually not the evil queen anymore. So I mean, Tinkerbell, you can give her a chance. Why am I even bothering? I don't want to deal with you anymore. My condolences. Selena, how dare you interrupt a funeral service? I mean, I know the funeral's kind of over, but you know the after funeral that happens when after you go to the gravesite and watch the person get buried, you go and eat funeral potatoes at the church or something, or in this case, Granny's. Everyone's like backed against the wall because they don't want the Wicked Witch to hurt him. There's like background characters running to the safety. Regina's an only child. Nope. 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 You have a sister. She's stealing Regina's lines from season 1. Regina. you know, you, you know the Wild West. You seen Wild West movies? Well, think of the Wicked West. The Wicked West. Right? It's a mixture of Wizard of Oz and Western movies. Wicked West showdown where two cowboys have a gun and you shoot each other till one dies and the other lives. Gun showdown, but no guns in this show because these characters have magic. Regina versus the Wicked Witch by the clock tower at sundown. Just, do you think the evil queen will lose or will the Wicked Witch? It's sad for Henry to not know his father. Hook knows about him, but Henry doesn't understand the 28 years of it pausing age. He doesn't understand the curse thing yet, so he's gonna think Hook was not an adult when Bellfire was a kid. He's gonna think, oh, you guys are the same age. Hey, be nice to Granny. Stick to the lasagna later. Stick to the lasagna. Why don't you just be nice? Give her a break. She didn't. Well, I mean, what Regina did to the Wicked Witch was she. Well, the Wicked Witch's jealousy comes from her being born, and mostly it's her mother deciding to keep Regina over Zelena and abandoning Zelena. So, I mean, to be honest, it's Regina. It's not really Regina. It's your mother that you're jealous about. She didn't keep you. Yeah, I mean, she's jealous that she has a sister that her mother her mother liked more than her. Yep. In some future episode, we're gonna get a flashback about Korra and how Zelena was born and how she abandoned her. The ability to become royalty is why Korra got it abandoned her. See, there's Regina's jealousy right there. You should be teaching me, not her, Rumpelstiltskin. Rumple needs to teach Regina how to use magic so he can cast the curse and he can be reunited with his son. Again, another nod to Neil's death. Was it really worth it? It was. Selena wants to be the one who cast the curse. So this is a plot twist where Rumple didn't just train Regina to cast the curse. He had other students. It's just Regina's the one who got the job. Yep, it's one thing to wonder about the past, but another to be envious of what you cannot have. Be grateful for what you do have. Don't be jealous of what you don't have. Rumple doesn't believe her at first. It's not possible Rumple doesn't believe her. You're putting yourself on a death sentence. I mean, we know she's right, but Rumple's like, you better be right or I'll kill you. No, he's right. She's right. Yep, she's blood related to Korra. I know. How did Rumple not know Korra had another child? That's kind of surprising. Tinker Bell and Tink. That's funny. Tinker Bell and Tink. But they're two separate people. Tinker Bell and Bell. Tinker Bell. And also we had Bellfire who just died. So many bells. Finally, the funeral service is over, though. We're focused more on the showdown between wicked versus evil. Well, that letter. That probably has the revelation of Regina's stepsister. Half-sister, if you want to get technical. Half-sister, because they share the same mother, but from a different father. Sisters, let's see, what's the saying go? Sisters from another father. Not another mother. Sisters from the same mother and another father. It's like, you know that saying when people say brothers from another mother? Except, Selena and Wicked Witch are girls, so sisters from another father. It's like the opposite. Because they're not from another mother. They share the same mother. It's just the fathers that are different. I had another 5-second pause because of the internet. Guys, I'm so sorry. This is not going to be a good live stream tonight, but I'm not going to redo it, so I hate when internet does this to me. I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to download this and put it on YouTube in a second when we're done with this episode. I hate doing that. We still have 25 minutes left, and yeah. If you notice, my hair's kind of turned a little more pink lately. It used to be a lot redder, but that has changed. You know, in the in the Robin's reading Cora's letter to Regina. It's about somebody else. Regina thinks she so Zelina is threatening Regina to a showdown at the clock tower by sunset, and Regina, just like a Western movie, and Regina doesn't think she'll win because Rumpel said in a letter, I guess it wasn't Cora, that Rumpel thinks that Zelina's more powerful than Regina is. So I mean, it's hard. Yeah, Regina is upset about many things. An abusive father, Regina getting everything, Cora banning her. What a sad life, Wicked Witch! No, that was loud. Sorry. Yep, by Peter Pan. You were banned by Peter Pan, Rumple. Yep. So Rumple was raised by spinsters. We've seen that before. Mm-hmm. That is a good moment indeed, except we know Regina's the one who cast the curse. Yep, Rumple's... The Wicked Witch is still keeping Rumple in the cellar. Even after Neil's death. Yeah, I mean, Rumple could kill his own. They are gonna get married. Rumple and Bella. If Rumple's gonna kill his future wife, Rumple could kill his future wife. He's not going to, but he could, if, because the Wicked Witch has his dagger, and he doesn't have really agency if the Wicked Witch has the dagger. Rumple doesn't want to do that, but she's forced to because of the dagger. Yep, kind of knows what a GPS is. He doesn't know much about it. He's not from this world. He didn't grow up 28 years. He didn't spend 28 years in Storybrooke. Mm. Actually, even though the curse paused their aging, they're not technically the same age, even without the curse. Henry's so confused because Hook does look like the same age as Neil. To be fair, before the curse and everything, when Neil was a child, Hook was still an adult. But I guess Neil was able to catch up when Hook's aging stopped, because Neil's didn't. Now he's saying something that makes sense. Because when Neil was Henry's age, he lost his father too. So that's something they have in common. And Rumple lost his father when he was Henry's age. And the abandonment continues. The Wicked Witch is getting ready for battle. We just had a funeral. Can you give it like another day or two before we do this? We do not need a fight in the after a funeral service, honestly. But it's Wicked Witch time. Remember, hashtag Wicked versus Evil. Whose side are you on? Evil Queen or Wicked Witch? Selena's getting a little too jealous. Whoa. And it's spreading. It's spreading. Rumple disappears. Oh my goodness. Wicked Witch is getting jealous that Rumple and is still training Regina. The whole town is here to see the showdown. It's like a Western blowout. It's like a Western blowout. Sorry. It's funny. I do remember a commercial break happening here, and 5 minutes later we come back to the show. But there's no commercial break, so 5 minutes are up. In like 2 seconds. That was not 5 minutes. That was not 5 minutes. I repeat, that was not 5 minutes. I mean, she does have magic. She just hasn't used it against the Wicked Witch yet. Emma is the savior. Why can't she fight the Wicked Witch? Regina finally showed up right before Wicked Witch started killing everybody. She can't control if she was born. She's like, I figured out we are sisters, and I believe you. But so now present day Regina and Enchant Forest Regina know that the Wicked Witch and her are sisters. But what did she ever do to Regina? What did the Wicked Witch ever do to Regina? And the only thing Wicked Witch is jealous of is her being born. That's the one thing she did wrong. You were born, so now I want revenge. Who controls who controls if you were born? No one does. Only your parents. Honestly, why doesn't she want to get revenge on Cora for abandoning her? I mean, you shouldn't get revenge at all. You should just move on. But Wicked Witch just wants to get revenge on Regina. That's not her fault. Yep. Wicked Witch is jealous that Regina got the job. She disqualified herself and for loving Rumple too much. Next time you will choose me. I don't think he ever did. It was always Regina. Exactly. that's that's the whole reason you're mad. You're jealous of your sister. That's no reason to be this evil. You became royalty. Regina casted the curse. You had a mother who was overprotective. Selena wants all that. Wow, it's Showdown is really hitting it off, throwing traffic lights at each other, throwing each other across car windows, and fireballs. It's a little violent right now. And now we're throwing Regina into the clock tower. Honestly, that has a lot of cushions. Take her to the hospital. Does she break any ribs? Honestly. That's the first battle of Wicked versus Evil, guys. Wow, this Wild West just became interesting. One thing. Never bring your heart to a witch fight. Whoa. She hadn't abandoned you. Regina was smart not to bring her heart to a witch fight. So now we know she wants Charming's courage and Regina's heart, and then Rumple's brain. Those are the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. And then she wants Snow White's baby. So innocence, like Dorothy. So there you go. The four ingredients that represent the Wizard of Oz are in this series. That's exactly true. They're already in Storybrooke. Zelena cast a curse, and they're already forgetting their memories of the previous year. What other curse can she be casting on them that could be worse? Nothing much. Your heart. My heartless mother. Appreciate your new soulmate. She wants to hide it. Yep. You owe him a drink after you ran off the other episode. Oh, Robin. Regina's finally warming up to Robin, hiding the fact that, she couldn't appreciate what she has, with Robin because, they just barely met and it's a little awkward to bring that up, so she's hiding it, but yeah, now she's appreciating more that her new soulmate is probably right. Tinkerbell's right about her falling in love with Robin Hood because she loves him for real. So Zelena's not casting a curse. It's something different. It's Walsh. Now I could. He was the Wizard of Oz. Emma Swan was dating the Wizard of Oz. Like a flying circus. Like a flying circus animal. Not evil, dear. Wicked. Oh, so she wants to travel in time. Oh, you're just making Regina even. You're making Wicked Witch even more jealous by watching this. You're the best student I ever had, Rumple. Stop choosing favorites. Love everyone equally. Regina. So she wants to go back in time to make Regina non-born. She wants to go back in time and stop Regina from being born. Doesn't that remind me of Back to the Future when Marty accidentally almost stopped himself from being born? Zelena wants to do it on purpose to Regina. How evil is that? We're gonna get some time travel, y'all. And that's the credits rolling right now. So that wraps up our episodes for tonight. And it's 9:20. Now, if this live stream can just survive 10 more minutes before other internet connections pop up, pop up, that would be great. We have lost our YouTube audience, guys. I am so sorry. We lost our YouTube audience during that whole episode. They didn't even come to Neil's funeral. That was at the beginning of it. So yes, the whole point of tonight was the loss of Neil, Henry's father. It's time to say goodbye to him. And it's all the Wicked Witch's fault. It's all the Wicked Witch's fault. All the Wicked Witch's fault. We lost our prophet too a couple weeks ago, and I have a great grandmother who's really sick in the hospital right now, so there's a lot of loss this season, the fall season. Sad time, guys, for all of us. Wow. Wow. I'm glad when we have internet problems, it's always just YouTube that shuts down. I'd be so mad. I would probably not even do the live streams anymore if it happened to Facebook too, like both of them. If it was just Facebook that shut down, it's easy. Just take the video off YouTube and la. Just like I do with Facebook, I can do the same thing to YouTube. Okay, but if both shut down and we continue the live stream, yeah. Well, anyway, those were the episodes for the night. I have no idea if I had comments on YouTube, because, I have no comments here on Facebook. But YouTube, I'll never know because of what happened. Kind of sad though. Save to watch later. Kind of sad of everything that happened. Regina lost the battle against the Wicked Witch. Neil died. But Charming did face his fear. There's that. We only had one happy episode. Um, yeah, so anyway. Anyway, sad time for Neil, though. God be with him till we meet again. So yes, a lot did unravel in that episode there. Zelina, as a barely young adult, around probably 18ish, left her abusive father. You know, we found out that when she fell through a portal to Oz, she wasn't born in Oz. Cora's not from Oz; she's from the Enchanted Forest, so we probably already knew that. But we found out how she got here, just like Dorothy did. She came here by a tornado, and but instead of dropping the house on the Wicked Witch of the East, that's Dorothy, who did that. Wicked Witch just dropped her house in the middle of nowhere, and then and as a baby, the Munchkins, the Ozians, as you call them, and probably Wicked. Wicked Part 2 comes out in November, y'all. Anyway, Wicked, anyway, the two people who live in Oz adopted Zelina. The mother was a nice mother, and the father was not abusive towards her, so I don't know what, it's kind of interesting. A lot of fathers that are abusive, usually don't try to hide it from their spouse. Usually in most stories I've seen with abusive fathers, the wife just leaves and stuff. But yeah, no. The wife, the husband was not abusive. They were actually a good couple, but once the mother died, he was being abusive to his daughter. Zelina had enough of it, and so she decided to, after calling her wicked, she decided to leave her father and go to the Wizard of Oz for answers after finding out that she was only adopted. And so when she finds out about her real family, she doesn't go to Wonderland, because this flashback's before Cora died. This flashback's before Storybrooke. This flashback is before season 1 of the show, But anyway, she, instead of going to Wonderland to visit Cora, she goes to the Enchanted Forest, and runs into Rumpelstiltskin, who's training Regina to cast her curse. First of all, training her magic. It's not during the time she's about to cast her curse. That's still years away. Snow White's probably still a child, too. But as the stepmother of Snow White, Regina's learning to use magic by Rumpel. I don't need the headphones anymore. We're done. He's still using it for Rumpel. He's still being trained by Rumpel, and Zelina is getting a little jealous by that. So she gets trained by Rumpelstiltskin. Unfortunately, she fails a test. Rumpel chooses Regina over her. Wicked Witch is more powerful, but she's a little too dangerous. So it's not that she wasn't powerful enough to cast his curse. She was too powerful, because the person she loved the most, we know how Regina crushed her father's heart, right? Or the person she loves the most is Rumpel, and she can't crush Rumpel's heart, otherwise Rumpel can't be reunited with his son. The whole point of casting this curse was to be reunited with, his son. So anyway, he keeps that detail out, obviously, because that would show a weakness to the villain he's training, to the villains he's training to cast the curse. But anyway, Zelina, because of this, Rumpel can't have Zelina cast the curse. And of course, she has the Dorothy slippers from Oz that can take you to Kansas, right, and back to Oz again. And anyway, though the Wicked Witch could have offered the slippers to Rumpel, she decides not to give it to him because he chose Regina over her. So out of her jealousy, she forces Rumpel to, she forces herself not to let Rumpel reunite with his son, and disappears, and they become quickly enemies after that. But anyway, and then, when she goes back to the Wizard of Oz and decides she wants to change the past, and finds out that the Wizard of Oz can't do that, even in the real story of the Wizard of Oz was kind of a trickster, So anyway, finding that out, she turns him into a monkey for punishment, and serving serving the Wicked Witch, obviously. And so anyway, so with magic beans being a rare thing to find, and not portals happening often, and curses being too threatening to curse an entire kingdom to even cast unless you're a villain. Slippers are probably the best thing to come by when it comes to jumping portals. Rumple could have just used those all along. In fact, even if the witch refused to give them to her, he could have found some other way to Oz and forced Zelena into her hand, because the only way he can die is by the dagger. And as long as the Wicked Witch knows about the dagger now, but I don't think in this flashback she knew about the Dark One dagger that much. So without worrying about getting his life taken away, Rumpel could have easily just probably stole the slippers back from her, no matter how powerful she was, because he's immortal. And unless it's a fate worse than death, obviously. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It would ruin the plot of the entire TV show. So I'm glad they don't do that. But anyway, you can't do a plot twist of something that's already happened. We know Regina cast the curse. We saw it with our own eyes. You can't do a plot twist to make us think she didn't. But that's the first curse. We still didn't know who technically cast the second curse. You could assume it's the Wicked Witch, but I gave you a hint last week as we started this partial season, and half season, the second half of season 3, and the Wicked Witch and Peter Pan are supposed to feel like 2 separate seasons, so that's why I'm saying the start of this partial season, because we already, it's the second half. Anyway, but beside the point, Wicked Witch, what was I saying? Now I lost what I was saying because I got distracted on that tangent. But anyway, the Wizard of Oz, full of trickery, turned into a monkey. But anyway, I don't remember what I was gonna say, but I'm gonna move on. With it being 9:29, I better wrap up. Not move on, wrap up. But anyway, yeah. As far as Storybrooke goes, like Regina, who plans to go back in time, stop Regina from being born, so then that way she could be the one to cast the curse, obviously. Oh yeah, and I know what I was talking about now. Changing plot details. You can't really do that. We don't know who cast the second curse. It's obvious. You might think it's obvious to think it's the Wicked Witch, because in the first season it was the villain who casted it, which was Regina at the time. But, sometimes they like to pull a twist on us. So, don't always think it's going to be the villain who cast the curse. Maybe the heroes did it. And why would the heroes want to cast an evil curse? Maybe to, that's the only way to reach Emma, obviously. Emma's never going to the... Every time when they have a dark curse, Emma's never involved in it. She's always from the real world. And, and stuff. So, anyway, she's always the person to be from the real world when a new curse happens. So, unfortunately... and if maybe instead of Charming wanted to get back to Emma to defeat the Wicked Witch, maybe that's why they cast the curse. Not trying to give out spoilers, but just a suggestion. It may have not been the Wicked Witch. Just saying. I probably kind of did spoil it, but I'm sorry. But anyway, you never know. For now you can say it's the Wicked Witch, but we'll see. I know who it is, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, we know for sure, 100%, without an argument, that Regina cast the curse. The first curse from season 1. So anyway, there's no way you can make it so the Wicked Witch did it. So anyway, unless she disguised as Regina, but no, that's not where they're going with the show. Anyway, so yes, in present storyline, when aside from Charming facing his courage, and the Wicked Witch getting Regina's heart, which she failed, unlike Charming's courage, where she succeeded. Neil died. We had our first showdown between Wicked versus Evil in the Storybrooke, at least. I don't think we had one in flashback though. And then last but not least, Rumpel's back, obviously. And yeah, and so now we know that the Wicked Witch, the characters in the present storyline don't know this, but through flashback, we know the Wicked Witch is trying to cast some kind of time travel spell. And to go back in time and stop Regina from being born. So, yeah. Will she succeed? Probably not. But it's funny to see how she needs Oz ingredients to cast her spell with the heart, the courage, and the brain from the movie. It's kind of funny. It is Wizard of Oz theme, y'all. But anyway. But yeah, that will wrap up our live stream for tonight. Thanks for coming. You know, we're halfway through the Oz arc now, so that's good. That's good. That's good. I'm probably going to delete the YouTube live stream that just got shut down because of internet issues. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see. I will end my Facebook live stream first, and then download this and figure all that out after I end this live stream. But yeah, oh wow, because we start on time at 1:50. Normally I go a little past 9:30, and when we start late, we're not starting late. We started right on time. Remember, YouTube actually started 10 seconds early. Facebook only 7 seconds late. So that's not really a difference. We started right at 6:50, and we're still going past 9:30 for some reason. So I don't think starting on time really makes a difference. That just makes us talk longer. So I am so sorry. But we will end it right now. 2 hours and 44 minutes. Okay, we're going to stop there. Have a great night, guys. See you next week for episodes 17, 18, 19. So, yeah. We're closer to the end of the season. Almost to 22. Almost there. Season 3 was a longer season because we stopped in the middle. But, don't worry. We're getting through it, and the next season will be a lot faster because we have no more spin-offs to get through. And none of them take place between the season arcs anymore. So, anyway, we'll just jump from one arc to another after this. So anyway, have a great night, and God be with you till we meet again. Bye, y'all!